this is Map Business Online. Welcome to another video presentation. If you tuned into this, you're probably interested in data sets of cities that you can query on Map Business Online. I did import a data set here, city data that I created from an Excel spreadsheet, and I've got that on the map. You can see Providence and Newark are here. If you go in, my data is I've got 21 cities on the map. Now I've just clicked on a couple, you can go in and futz around and find the label individually, or you can go over here on the map and data tab, hover over that edit gear and click callouts and open all callouts. So let's do that. So you could bring in your own city data set. You can see now you're going to have to futz around with the labels a little bit. So you could use compact labels. And that puts points on the map, city points on the map that you can then work with as a layer of data. So again, if you had states turned on, or if you had some sort of big geographic object, a market area of interest, these cities could be made to show up. And you can go in and actually tweak how they're going to show up. So like Manchester, we could make that up on top of Concord and make Concord over there to the, yeah, no, we don't really want to do that, do we? But anyway, so you can go in and tweak these things to some extent. But up here on the toolbar is where you would go in and add additional map layers. So we'd go in and we'd say, I'm going to bring in cities. And again, this is not a queryable layer, but when I bring it in, you can see these little names start to pop up. Charleston, Columbus. And as we zoom in, let's see what happens when we zoom in. We get a few more of them. Canton, Springfield. So it gives you a little bit more information just visually as points of reference. Those major cities are there. Now, if I turn on the city limits data, and we add that to the map, you can see even more cities show up. And this time, you're going to have their actual boundaries showing. So if I get rid of the city data, and I get rid of my crazy data that I imported, now there's my city limits data. And that's a pretty cool looking data set in my opinion. And as you drill in, you will get more and more data. You'll get towns, because ultimately you're going to get down to a point where all you're going to see is just the towns that actually have population that's of any significance at all. And everything else is going to be, sort of never land, no man's land, I guess, in between cities and towns. And then from a database perspective, you're able to go in and take a look at that city limits layer and work with that just like you might, we'll call that city test, because I'm so clever at naming things. And you can go in and create a data set, an area of interest, a territory. That's all of the cities that are touched by that circle. And in that, I've got 511 of the 295, let's see, 29,509 cities that are out there in the city data layer. And you're able to export this out. So there's a list of cities. Now, when we talk about that zip code configuration, it's over here in Map and Data, and you click that little gear, and you click that little zip code tab, and down here is the drop down. The application comes with that ZCTA turned on, and this is where I'm telling you to go. Make it USPS zip codes with fillers, and you'll have a lot more fun with your data, because when you look at the zip codes now, you'll have a column for place name, and you can see as we just go down that column that you've got place names all the way down through all the zip codes all the way across the US. And so, whether Mountain Air is an actual town, or maybe in some cases there could actually be place names that are associated with some of these places as opposed to cities or towns, because they're just rural areas. But that's where you're going to get that information and be able to work with it outside the application, so you can export this list out. So that gives you a couple of different options for querying cities, having fun with cities in Map Business Online. Go to mapbusinessonline.com and take our free trial.